intro this at all.
No, this is all. Cut all this up. This is all going on the Patreon.
You can scrap this.
This is all.
Cut it for promo.
Bro, you gotta tell me because I gotta fucking. Okay, don't.
What do I have to tell you?
Cut it for promo.
No, I'm just gonna because I have a timer going.
Cut it for promo.
Okay. What's the timer at right now? 21.
Don't worry. I'll worry about the
800 minutes.
Welcome to another week of Pros and Conquerors, the bad boys of history. Today we're talking Nelson Mandela. I'm James Jam Easy Cummins here with my co-host Colin Cummings,
with a G at the end.
and we got another guest joining us. Somebody that was a little bit closer to where all this Nelson Mandela mumbo jumbo went down.
Mumbo jumbo.
Straight from South Africa, our guest Ariel Kagan.
Hey everyone, that is the best way to describe
That
apartheid.
That whole yada
The
yada
mumbo
yada.
jumbo.
Well, I'm talking about, okay, so obviously Nelson Mandela, to the untrained eye, everyone remembers him as a pretty great guy in history, right?
Yep.
I mean, there are people that don't.
People that say, oh, he went to prison for 27 years for fighting segregation.
Yeah, that is.
But then
literally
when you take a little closer look at what the crimes he was guilty of, it can get a little ugly, right?
Yeah, but those crimes are only guilty because a specific government made it that way.
Ooh.
He wouldn't have committed any of those crimes if he lived in a free state.
Yeah. So basically,
without the criminal state that existed, there would be no criminal Mandela.
Yeah, let's get into that a little bit. Okay, so before we get into the crimes that he committed, let's get into what the setup was for Mandela before having to.
Well, let's talk about this first because a lot of people won't know this.
Yeah.
He was born a Xhosa man.
Yeah, what's that?
So in South Africa, there are 9 main tribes, right?
Yeah.
But the ones we rarely don't, the one most people know or talk about is known as the Zulu people, right? The Zulus make up most of the black population. They are the primary, what's the right demographic of black people in South Africa.
That's,
really?
Yeah, it makes up like 70% of all black people.
Is it Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation?
Yeah, King Shaka Zulu. You know King Shaka Zulu?
Yeah.
Definitely heard of it.
Yeah. So then they're all descendants of that tribe, right?
What?
But he comes from a different tribe. So to a lot of black South Africans, he's not good either because he comes from this
Is it like a lower class tribe or like
exactly? So they human rights him, like he gets hit twice.
Okay.
Right? Like the white people are hitting him,
both
and then the
sides.
Zulu people are like, I don't want this guy as my leader. He doesn't support the Zulu, right?
Wow.
But he did a great job of rallying it, and that's what caused, when you look at beyond Mandela, when he passed on and like new presidents took over, you guys know much about what's been going down there?
No.
right
recently?
now, yeah. To this day, well, I was reading into it today, and it seems like even though they got how do you say it, the apartheid? So yeah, he's the main factor in getting rid of the apartheid. But since then, it's not like South Africa's been all like.
Alone.
But since then, it's not like South Africa's been all like rainbows and sunshine. Like
So
it's still pretty rough.
When he was in power, that was a lot of the complaint, was that it was fluff, right? Like he was trying to just keep peace because he knew bloodshed back wasn't the answer. I think we should get into that a bit later, but subsequently after him, another non-Zulu man took over. I don't know if he's Xhosa, but Thabo Mbeki took over next. And then came Jacob Zuma. Now, Jacob Zuma was the first Zulu leader. That's how he won the election, was he really ramped up that he was like, I'm a Zulu man. Like, and he just...
I'm a Zulu man with a Zulu plan.
And oh my God, that should have been his campaign slogan.
Trying to get all you Zulu stans to vote for me.
None of them are called Stan.
No, but you know what a stan is? A stan is I'm a big fan of yours because like Eminem had a stan. Remember that guy?
Yeah. I understand now.
Yeah.
None of them were named Stan.
Yeah.
That is not a name.
That is not a name.
No,
black
there's not
rock.
a Stan Zulu?
No,
Stan
they
Zulu?
would. If your name is Stan, you are white in South Africa.
I actually know a lot of Ghanaian guys named Stanley.
Yeah. Ghana is like so
West
far
Africa.
from South Africa.
No, but I'm just saying.
Place.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna call an African an African.
Jesus.
No, all I'm trying to say
Jam
is
Easy 100% would have been okay with apartheid.
I wasn't.
He would have.
No.
He would have been like, yeah.
No, definitely not.
Africans in Africa.
Unless I get to be on the black side, then I'll be down with it. I don't want to be hanging out with all you stuffy whites.
Yeah, that'd be hard.
So apartheid, it was segregation, but whites had like way more power than blacks, pretty much.
It's segregation to the nth degree. It was they had no rights to vote. To work, you had to have permission.
Wow.
Right? There was the pass law, so they had literally separate ID, and black people would have to show like an ID that they were allowed permission to be where they were. Right? So like if you came to a rich part of town, you had to show that you were legally allowed to be there for a job or something like that.
So it's like that German guy, the papers. You have your papers?
Yeah.
That, like Nazi guy?
Yeah.
Damn.
That's exactly what it was like. And if you didn't,
fucked.
they would arrest you on site.
And
wow.
You could go to jail for like 2 years just for not having your pass on you.
No. 2 years?
Yeah, man.
Now
What the fuck?
They would throw you in jail for anything.
True.
Right? If a black guy fucked a white woman, the white woman, nothing would happen to her. The black guy would jail, gone.
So the police were all white, or what? They were all.
Well, there were some black guys who converted, obviously, to the police because they needed money and stuff, and then they were just
True.
But it was very uncommon.
Yeah.
Very uncommon.
I've seen when before Mandela went to jail, when he was like fighting, pushing back all the quote unquote terrorist stuff that he did. Was like if you were a black guy that was kind of bowing down to the white man's rules, like he was pretty harsh on black people at that time. He had some real what was it called? Giving somebody a necklace. Oh
yeah, necklacing is pretty dark. It's a pretty unfortunate thing that happens in Africa, and it all stems from poverty, right? Money would solve all of the problems, and the problem is corruption runs so deep that even when the money comes, it's not going to the places it needs to go. But necklacing is a xenophobic attack where they will take tires, put it around a person, light those. They've soaked those tires in gasoline, and then they will light those tires on fire, burning the person alive.
Damn.
You can go watch videos of it happening, and it's pretty dark.
Jesus, you can watch video.
This just happens. Like
is
you
this
could just
around the head or around your body?
Around the body, so you can't get out.
Oh wow!
Like you imagine you're just going to work, like you're just like on the highway, and then a guy on fire runs.
Yeah,
that would. I never saw it, but like that could happen.
When you were so you were growing up in South Africa until what year? What year did you come to Canada?
Okay, I came in when 2012. I was 24 years old.
So the 90s is when the apartheid just ended. So you
I was in grade 1 when Mandela took over. My first like real childhood memory is actually the day he was became president, because I was with my stepfather in the grocery store. And I was impatient. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I just want to go home. But everyone was stopped in the grocery store watching the TV in the corner. You know, like one of those old school black and white TVs in the corner of the grocery store.
Were they all really angry?
No.
Were they all like,
I mean, people knew immediately. 1991, he got out of jail.
Yeah.
You knew immediately the next election he was president.
Really?
It was known fact.
Because he was in jail for 27 years, and even him being silent in jail, not being able to give his speeches and everything, he was still basically like a figurehead, like somebody to look up to, like knowing that he went to jail for that cause. Like a lot of people were still behind Mandela without even him having to
like a living
be
martyr.
In the front,
like a living
like
martyr.
like the face of a movement. The thing about him that was interesting was every prison he was in, he made such an impression that they gave him like correspondence rights, so he was still allowed to send letters. So he would write letters to people to be like, "This is what I think we should be doing."
Wow!
Right, because he was so influential. Even the guards at Robben Island, which we can get into. Robben Island's a fuck place, but it was a prison. The guards eventually they originally would like beat the shit out of everyone and verbally abuse them, make them work. Yeah. And over years, Mandela talked them out of doing that.
Really?
Like it's a known fact. Like that's why they moved him, because he was in at Robben Island prison, and then they moved him. I always forget the name. It's such a terrible name. It's like,
they moved him because he got them to stop beating the prisoners?
Yeah, because he had so much influence over even the most like staunch person. He would convince you were wrong, right? That's what made him so good, is he could just talk to you and you would just it would just wash over you. How many did you guys watch any of his speeches? Did you?
Well, no. No.
I took in some of his speeches. Very very quotable guy. Like so many
so
great
funny
quotes.
too.
Was this happening because he's in jail? This is such an odd thing. Was there like him talking to you and then unknown people coming to you after or something?
What do you mean?
Like, he had so much control. Could he just have somebody beat the shit out of you if you didn't listen to what he thought you should do?
I mean, technically, probably, because he set up the military faction of the African National Congress, right?
Yeah. So when I was reading up on that, it was making it sound like,
was he a straight up gangster? Is that what's happening? Right
some
now?
people
He was a freedom fighter.
Oh my god.
So
I didn't know.
Okay, let me explain.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys don't comprehend. South Africa is black. It is,
of course.
The population is 90% black.
Really?
46 million people, 90% is black. What's that math? I'm not good at math, and I'm a Jew. It's a lot of people.
And that was before they started killing all the white people after Nelson Mandela got elected.
Listen, let's not get into that.
Yeah.
That's part of.
You don't want me. Well, because the thing about that even is like, yeah, of course they're killing white people. I probably would do it.
It says that about 200 white farmers have been murdered every year since the end of the apartheid in 1994. According to Genocide Watch, 3,000 farmers have been killed by blacks. Many of these killings have been unbelievably gruesome. Disemboweled, dragged to death from their vehicles, mothers raped in front of their children, and babies boiled to death in water.
And they didn't talk about the raping of babies, but, you know.
Raping babies?
Who was doing this?
Listen, how deep do you want to go in? How about let's just go from where I was.
Yeah, what were you? You were just saying a population, so that would be 4.7 million white people, and the rest would be.
Well, of that 10%, you're not forgetting South Africa has one of the largest Indian populations. South Africa has one of the right. White people are 1%.
Oh.
1% literally crushed an entire country. Understand how brutal your tactics have to be when 1%
Yeah,
of
what
people.
the fuck? How the hell did they manage that?
Well, that's like slave.
It might be
numbers.
higher actually. Look it up.
That's
it might be like 5 or 6%.
That's like slave numbers.
Yeah, it's
in
just
terms
like
of slaves to slave master type things. Like,
either way, it wasn't like the white people were the majority and it was easy. No, they had to put things in place. You understand? Like
definitely.
They took away water. They took away education. They took away food. They like corralled people into certain sections and then would police state that area of town.
8.9% is white.
Wow. Well, see,
now
you know what's funny? We did an episode on John A. McDonald, and he would do the same thing with natives.
It was
he would
white,
corral
it's the
them
white
with
tactic.
the food.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
would be like, "You guys go over there. That's where the food is," and then keep.
Oh
eating.
yeah.
It's still a small percent. Like when you talk grand schemes, that's like a lot of. And it was because they had all the wealth from the gold, right? Like that they could do this, right?
True.
So they come into the country, take the resources, and then use those resources to fuck the native people of the land. Like, so of course these people were pissed.
Of course they were pissed.
Of course they were pissed. And so, like, how can anyone sit back and go, he was a fucking terrorist? It's like, no, the white people were the terrorists. They showed up and did fucking garbage things to...
Is that how your family feels in South Africa too?
Oh,
Growing up as a white family?
I grew up with a Canadian mom.
Okay.
Right? So my mom was kind of separate from most of it. Like, she just ended up in South Africa because her family was so poor here that they were like... There was an exchange program between the Commonwealths in, like, I think the 70s where they would trade labor. So if you were a poor person in Canada...
You could be a poor
and you had a skill that South Africa needed, you could life swap with someone, basically. And they would move people around, right?
Wow.
And so my grandfather was like one of the first computer programmers here. And so he went to use that skill in South Africa. And it did not go well. I grew up white poor, which is not... Which is still wealthy, right? Which is fucked, right? Like, I grew up white poor.
There's wealth.
We have no money. Like, my mother was a single mother of 2 children.
Yeah.
Right. My father just disappeared for years.
Wow.
Like, you know, and like people were like, "Well, you grew up privileged."
Was your school pretty mixed race?
So I forgot. I meant to bring. I have a photo album, and it's pretty interesting because you see my kindergarten photos.
Yeah.
No black people.
Uh-huh.
Then Mandela gets elected. Black people. Look, and you can see the progression in the photos of class. Like more and more black people come to the school.
Started integrating, I guess.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy shit.
That's crazy times.
Weird.
Yeah. But up till today in South Africa, there's still like mad racial tension. Like,
oh, I could tell you stories, man. I was once. This is one of the craziest stories that ever happened to me. I went to buy tickets Tottenham Hotspur, the British football team, came to South Africa, and they were doing like they were playing the local teams. So me and my friends were like, fuck yeah, let's do this. We'll get tickets. So I was like, I'll go. I went because it's like the internet is terrible in South Africa. You can now, but when I was like in my I had dial-up till I was 19 years old. I was watching porn on dial-up till I was 19 years old.
Oh,
right?
Man.
And then when I came here, like people, they just move at such an insane pace. Like, because they're like, we gotta be going all the time. And it's like, no, you don't. Like you can still watch porn on dial-up. Just chill. You know, like, just chill. But
patient man.
You just can't open 5 tabs.
Yeah. You gotta relax.
You're just like, hold on, I'll just sit back.
Yeah. You actually have to download it.
I would actually
play it on Windows Media Player.
We would just use hard drives. That was the thing. Like one friend had good at internet. He would download a bunch. And we just circulate that shit.
100%.
Yeah, that you would have days where you would go to your friend's house just to do that. You'd be like, "I'm coming over today to get porn."
Wow. I love that.
But why was I telling you that?
Oh, why were you?
It had something to do with
racial
tension. So I go to buy these tickets, right? I buy these tickets, and I'm standing in the line. It's like 10 people in front of me, and this black guy comes up on the side, and he's just like, he just walks to the front of the line. And I've been waiting like 20 minutes. And I'm like, no, like that's, you can't just do that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey sir, like there's actually a line, like you gotta wait over there. And immediately this guy turns around and he goes, oh, white boy, you saying that? Why? Because I'm black? And I was like, no, because it's just decorum. We just wait in lines. We wait for our turn. It's kind of how it goes. And then literally everyone in the line who was black started to turn on me.
Wow.
They were like, oh, this guy's a racist. This guy's a racist. And then this guy's a racist. This guy. And I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. And I just bailed.
You just left?
I just left. I was like, you could get, like I was once with my mom in
get the necklace.
So in South Africa, no, they wouldn't do that. If they necklaced a white person,
it'd be a problem.
It'd be a huge problem. Right? Because the white people still have the money.
True.
Right? Your whole life, like, you kill a black person, people are like, nah, whatever, you know, like.
Yeah, South Africa is the same as
I mean, they shouldn't.
America.
Yeah, but. So I'm in this grocery store once with my mother. I was probably about 15 years old. And South Africa, we have a word worse than the N-word. Right?
Yeah.
Well, to the people there.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can call a black person the N-word in South Africa. No problem.
Yeah.
They won't bat an eye. They won't.
This one's the K word, right?
I'm not going to say it. You guys can say it if you want.
No, we talked about Gandhi used to call black people that a lot in his writings.
It means it's Afrikaans. It's Afrikaans for non-believer. That's where it stems from, is because Christianity was at the heart of apartheid, right? It was like they did here. It was they used religious propaganda as a cover-up for the atrocities that they were doing. They were like, we just want to bring people closer to Jesus. Yet they murdered millions of people. It's like, that's not what Jesus would have done. You know, like Jesus would not have shown up to a country and been like, you know what, let's murder everyone. Well, it is kind of like God likes to murder if you read the Bible.
You never know, yeah.
That's true.
But, so we're in this grocery store, and this Afrikaans guy. So there's two types of white people. There's several types of white people, obviously, but there's two main classifications of white people. You got white British and white Dutch. Those are called Afrikaans people, the white Dutch, and then the British people are just British.
Okay.
Right? White Afrikaans people are sterner. They're like the Alberta farmland white men. They're
more racist.
Who knows? I think the British might actually be more racist because they just convinced the Dutch to do the dirty work for them. Okay. Right? They were like, yeah, you go kill everyone and be dicks, and we'll just swoop in afterwards and like, we weren't a part of this. But
that's classic British.
They were like pulling. They were like the puppet.
That's what they did with Christopher Columbus too.
Yeah.
True.
And so within that, and white British and white Afrikaans cannot like each other, right? Like I grew up white British.
Yeah.
Didn't really hang out with that many white Afrikaans people.
Really?
Mainly because in school they make you take Afrikaans, and I fucking hated it.
Wow.
It turns out because I have dyslexia and I don't learn well.
Oh, true.
But at the time I was just like, ugh, this language is so boring, and it is. It's a terrible language. Don't.
Same thing with learning French in elementary school in Canada. It sucks. Like they don't even teach you how to speak it. They teach you how to conjugate verbs and shit.
French at least has application. You can go to other parts of the world and
use
it.
If they teach you how to speak it, but the way they teach it in Canada is not application wise. It's just like I said, conjugating verbs and like, is this a girl way to say I? Is this a guy way to say I? Like, just teach me how to speak it. How about that?
Yeah.
Fuck all that shit. Je ne comprends pas.
Okay, so I'm in this grocery store.
I don't understand.
I'm in this grocery store. A 6-foot monster Afrikaans man, just a moose of a man, just like he was massive, right?
And he just strolls in.
We're just at the line paying. We're just paying.
Yeah.
His kid is like 3 or 4 years old. Grabs a chocolate bar, runs over past the counter. The teller, who's black, jokingly says to the big Afrikaans guy, "Hey, look, your son's stealing that chocolate bar." Very jokingly. It was clearly a joke.
Yeah.
And this guy immediately goes, "Hey, K-word.
Yeah.
My son is not like you people."
Oh, he's not playing around. He's not playing games.
I have never seen anyone get the fuck beaten out of them like this man.
Oh, he got beat up.
A guy at a next thing jumped the thing and smacked his head onto the counter.
Oh, Jesus.
This guy was huge. He looked up and he was ready to fight, but he got mobbed. Like 10 to 12 people just beat the living shit out of this guy.
Damn.
All black?
My mom, we had a shopping cart full of our like month's groceries. We just bailed. We were like, they turned this into every white person.
So
all the black people
because
beat the shit out of this guy?
they were like, they swarmed, bro. It was like they were like, fuck this piece of shit, and they beat the living. That guy could be dead today. I don't know. I left.
That's crazy, and his son was there. That's sad.
Yeah. Well,
Damn.
I mean, he should.
Yeah,
watch his fucking mouth. Learn to take a fucking joke.
Yeah,
Jesus
that would have been
Christ.
better. Jesus.
She's the oppressed one, and she's making jokes. Like,
grabs him, wow.
He literally jumped the thing and went just like hit him. He came from nowhere. It was
Imagine
like, holy
that.
fuck.
And all under Nelson Mandela's watch.
Well, no, this would have been post Mandela.
Well, you
Really?
know,
I thought
I'm
you said
14.
Oh,
so
14.
Mandela would have taken over when I was in 7.
He was like
6 or
91 to 97, I think.
Yeah, so I would have been
Wow.
6 or 7.
jeez.
Frick. Yeah, man. It's
So are we gonna get to this?
yeah. Let's get to it.
I want to hear about this guy because he's telling some crazy stories. That's fucked.
The point. Well,
That's a
from what we got so far is that.
So wait, hold on.
Although Nelson Mandela did a great thing ending the apartheid, it's not like it solved racial tension in South Africa. There's still a lot of.
So the problem came with the subsequent. Mandela made one grave mistake. His vice president that he chose, he should have chosen a Zulu man. He should have chosen the current South African president, who isn't great, but he's a Zulu man, very smart, very articulate. But he went with a different guy who wasn't Zulu. So what ended up happening was it created tension within the ANC, the African National Congress, which was started by Zulu people, pretty much.
Oh, shit.
And so, like, you're fighting for black rights, but you're not part of the core system of it. So, like, and it caused so much tension, and it started to fracture, and uprose Jacob Zuma. And once Jacob Zuma took over, it was a free fall, because that man is he's a terrible human.
Oh, bad.
He is the Trump of South African politics.
Really?
This guy stole so much money. He should be in jail forever. He is literally. When I first got here, I was like, people would complain about Rob Ford.
Yeah.
And I was like, you need to shut the fuck up. Your guy smoked a little crack. Our president stole like $27 million. Built himself a White House.
Wow.
In a place nowhere near government for him and his 23 children.
Wow.
Because Zulu men can have more than one wife. You can't have 4 first ladies. You can't, like...
Wait, is that what would happen?
Yeah, one of his wives died. He replaced her in like 2 weeks, which means he had 4 wives and a side piece.
Wow.
I got 4 wives and a side piece.
20 million.
Okay, what?
I'm so hood rich.
That's crazy. Hold on 1 second. So when you see racism here, you're like, this is like racism light.
Well, no. Because racism is still... I get pissed off when I see things that aren't racist being called racist.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like a white guy gets dreadlocks. Fuck off. That's not racist. It's just a white guy who's an idiot.
Well, yeah, and he probably looks good in dreadlocks.
Yeah, and like whatever. Like how is this your
guys?
How is this your fight? That's not saying black people don't deserve rights. That's not saying black people
exactly.
right? Like when I see a black person get shot for no reason, I'm not like, this is racism on... This isn't racist. It's racist. It's racist.
Well, it depends what happens, because sometimes it's just good police work. That's me. This is how I am.
You think that?
Yeah, sometimes it's just
name one. Name one of the recent ones. Any? Actually, no. Let's not even.
I like how America could easily solve their problem. Just kill no black people for like 6 months. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, the way that the police just can't resist it, it's just like it's a little bit crazy.
Yeah,
like
it's like they're chicken.
You're
wings.
resisting arrest. You need to resist fucking killing another black.
Ooh, should I have another wing? Okay.
But speaking of legal battles, all right. Now we all know Nelson Mandela went to jail for a long time, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it was."
He went to jail twice. Most people don't know that. He went to jail for 5 years first. Got let go. And then they found another reason to arrest him.
Okay, so was the 5 year? Was the first time about violent crimes? Like the second time?
Yeah, the first one they had a plot to blow up a government building, I believe. I might be getting this wrong. Sorry, this is where my knowledge on Mandela wavers a bit, but
he's a gangster.
They was a plan to blow up a building, and I don't know if that's the one that sent him to jail for 27 years or if it was the first one.
Wow.
Well, okay, so Mandela. To the people that are very for him, they could see him as like a Christ-like figure, like a Gandhi, like a Martin Luther King. You know what I mean? Because he did something.
Martin
great
Luther King's a good comparison.
For
similar message, similar ideology.
Yeah.
But the big difference was he was known as a man of violence for decades. Now some people say he was the head of this terrorist wing, but other ways say it's the military wing of the ANC, the African.
Yeah, it's called the Mkuto Wesizwe.
And so when he went to jail, he pled guilty to 156 acts of public violence. What? Public violence. That's like bombing people. There's one Church Street car bomb killed 19 people, and that was supposed to be he was supposed to be behind that. Mandela suggested cutting off the noses of blacks deemed collaborators, and that's when his wife.
Well, it's like the Jews that would sell out Jews to Nazis. It was the same vibe.
God,
like black people would sell out. You don't know this? Jesus. Jews got rich. There's so many rich Jews in New York. A lot of their lineage, the reason they're in New York and they have money, it's because they literally turned in Jews their family turned in Jews during World War II. Damn. And the Nazis would pay them for information. It's similar vibe, similar setup. So some black people were tired of being oppressed. Mm-hmm. They wanted a better life. Yeah. So they would sell out black rights.
So this is all before. This is all the violent stuff he did was before he went to jail. When he came out of jail, that's when he's like, you know what? I'm not going to shed any more blood. We're going to do this the right way. And that's when he got the Nobel Peace Prize. That's when he got like a bunch of accolades that were, showing him as a good guy, which he was. And people can change, and being in jail, I'm sure, does change people and makes you have a different outlook on stuff. But
he also learned a lot, right? He studied in jail. He got 2 degrees while he was in jail, Wow. So
Jesus.
He also aged, right? He was a younger man full of angst and anger that he had to be segregated and oppressed. Think about when you were in your early 20s, how angry you were. Right now, imagine you had amplified like shit going on in your life because of government, because of our government. Yeah, of course you would want to fucking kill some people.
I had that exact situation actually. Not because of our Canadian government, but there's other governments.
If you grow up like Nelson Mandela, like you said, in a place where it's 90% black, you look around and you see all the black people getting treated like shit, and then it's by this little group of white people that there's not even that many of them. Yeah, you'd be thinking, how the fuck is this happening? If you're growing up like, why? Like, how can we not change this? Why? I'm sure at the time he's thinking, why aren't black people running this shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because all it would have taken was every black person to just pick up a gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So no wonder it's frustrating to have other black people being collaborators, and that's why, like, okay, one thing we did Gandhi last week, and Nelson Mandela had a quote on Gandhi saying, "Gandhi must be forgiven for the prejudices and judged in the context of time and circumstances." And Why would Nelson Mandela say that? Because same thing goes for him, and same thing can go for anyone in history. Really, the time and circumstances is really how you have to judge them. So when he was doing all this stuff,
true.
Same way people call IRA, the Irish Republic Army, a terrorist organization. I don't see them as a terrorist organization because I have great uncles and family members that were on that side. That I could see, like, you know what I mean? I only hear horror stories of what the British were doing in Ireland.
Of course.
So when you hear that they had to get a sniper on the roof and take some mans out or throw a car bomb in the mix to make a point, then I'm kind of more understanding to the shit that Nelson Mandela did.
You understand what they.
It's a common thing. Like it happens on an intrapersonal level to hundreds of people a day.
Yeah.
When you are not heard, you get your message across. You're not listening.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you listen.
Not being heard forms resentment immediately.
Yeah.
When you don't feel heard in something, you form resentment right away.
Really, they should have just got a couples counselor.
For who? No.
Mandela and whoever the president was at the time. They should have sat down.
I think they weren't too fond of sitting down with black people, and that was one of the problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were kind of viewing them as lower.
What was that guy's name? They tried to assassinate him twice, and they failed both times. I always forget his fucking name.
In South Africa?
Yeah, the president before F.W. de Klerk. I don't remember his name. It's before my time.
Jamie, look that up.
Did you say you said 156 counts?
He pled guilty to 156 counts, and when he was in jail, and like he was getting a lot of support from the community, even with, like you said, I guess he could write letters and stuff out. There's a couple times where the government went to him and were like, "Oh, if you want to get out of prison early and you just denounce violence." Say you're not going to do any more violence, then we'll let you out, kind of thing.
And he said no.
And he said no because he said I won't do that until I see the other side.
He said until you stop being violent, I won't.
Yeah,
which was
which is fair.
A big strength of him too, and how inspiring is that to the people that were following him to be.
Did you find the Sophia Town riots in this?
What's that?
In your research?
Tell me about it.
It's one of the craziest. So they were marching peacefully. Just. They wanted to march.
This is while he's in jail or before he went to jail?
I'm not sure.
When you say they're marching, these are the black people?
Through Sophia Town, which is just like, it was like they created slums basically and forced the black people into them and then would police state them. And so they start marching one day. It was mainly kids. They were marching for the right to be able to go to school and university and stuff.
Okay.
And they're marching and it just turned violent. Like the police just started to murder people. They murdered so many people.
Why? Did somebody push somebody?
Probably someone threw rocks or something, hit a car, and then it just escalated, turned into, and so that's kind of what he's talking about. He was like, you see these acts, they're not, they start peaceful. Yeah, it might get a bit heated, but like, no one dies, you know what I mean? And then they escalate it to the point of
where people die.
Wow.
Jesus.
Now,
God, it's so weird to hear all this.
To judge somebody off time and circumstances, to say terrorist or just things that had to get done, that's where the tricky part comes in. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're responsible for planning things that killed 100 people, but then all these plans led to
the freedom of millions.
The freedom of millions. Then, do you have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet? You know what I mean? Is it one of those things?
So it's like you're a terrorist if you get cut short in your plans. But if you
the victor is always right. The thing.
Then
you know what I mean?
You become this freedom fighter. I guess.
He straight up won a Nobel Peace Prize.
Well,
27 years later.
Not for the terrorism.
Obviously.
It's not that they were like, you win the Peace Prize for the best terrorism.
No. But okay, so when he got let's
hilarious.
Let's say Osama bin Laden, right?
I cannot believe you were putting Mandela and Osama bin Laden in the same.
I'm trying to twist it to a point where Osama bin Laden hit the Twin Towers. America, down with the infidels and all that stuff. Who knows? Let's say he did.
I'm just saying
he took credit for it.
They say he did.
He took credit for it,
and he was dead.
Who knows if he's really dead?
He never existed.
Whoa, this is
never
a whole nother
existed.
podcast.
That's a big one.
We'll do an episode. Should we just do a full episode on Osama bin Laden?
Nah, well, yeah, definitely.
The biggest underdog story in to go at the
in sports, the biggest underdog story in
to go at the big bad bully United States out of your cave, and you just draw up a plan that's like, we're gonna go inside him, we're gonna go outside him, we're gonna go inside him, outside him, we're gonna go high, we're gonna go low. Just giving the boys a pep talk in the cave, and then next thing you know, like it actually worked, and they actually, it's pretty crazy that they actually got a shot fired on United States.
Well,
small
that's a
time.
Big one.
Anyways, that's a deep conspiracy. Yeah. The point is, what I was trying to... he's no relation to Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
Not coming, but the point is, if everything worked out and Osama bin Laden, let's say, got all Americans to leave the Middle East.
Of course, yeah.
There'd be a large section of people in the Middle East that see him as a hero.
Well, I mean, like, even to just say that, like, yeah, you're right, but I mean...
I don't even know if I'm right. That could be a bunch of bullshit.
No, even with what has happened, even with what he's done, certain people will still see him as a freedom fighter.
Yeah.
Like always, right? Like, we tend to brand the people as terrorists that we feel are terrorizing our way of life, no matter what that is.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, because that's what it is, right? It's all about point of view.
Yeah.
Like, look how people can side with Trump. Look how people can side with fucking Trudeau. Look how people, right?
You can side with anybody.
Yeah, you can, as long as you just believe it. If it's your core belief.
Well, and also if it's your core belief, and also if you're benefiting from a situation, like.
People ask me right now, like, because of COVID, this is one of the things I keep talking to people about. They're like, why would the government create a fake create a virus out there? I'm like, listen, I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not saying any of that. I actually don't give a fuck about anything going on in the world. You know why? Because it's fucking pointless. It's fucking point. Here's the truth. Governments will do things to you. You know why? Because they are run by shitty fucking people.
Jesus.
Right? You forget. This one's what everyone forgets. The Nazis were a government.
This guy drank his Bill Hicks in the morning, eh?
They were a government. So don't tell me the government wouldn't create a virus that forces us to be at home and crush economies so that they can go to war later. That's obviously plausible. I'm not saying it's what's happening. I'm saying it's plausible.
A lot of times, freedom fighters that rise to the level of taking over the country turn into dictatorships too.
Well, they turn into government. Like once you get to a certain point, you're like, okay, we're the government now.
Absolute power
corrupts.
What's it called? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. When you become when you get to that powerful position.
I've definitely felt that. You know, when you get a little bit of power and you're just like, and you're like, oh, I'm a piece of shit.
That's why sometimes I thank God for not letting me have too much money or power, because I'm like, I wouldn't be ready to handle it.
I thank God for not making me have any work ethic.
So you'll never get that.
I would have been a psychopath.
Oh my gosh. No, I don't have any of these thoughts you guys are having.
Well,
if I get more power, I help people instantly.
Wait, you're the guy who does the most mushrooms, and you haven't had these thoughts?
No, but like I don't have I don't get.
Is it because we're white?
Yeah, maybe.
You think it's in our genetics?
I just don't get power. Like anytime I get more power, like I have equipment, and the second I have all this equipment, I know how to use it. I'm like, yo, if you want to start a podcast, we can do that. Yo, you want to do it? Like I just start reaching out to people, helping people.
We could get into that if you want. Because you're telling me that's not about power? That's not about control?
No, it's not about
really?
Control. No, it's not.
Are you sure?
That's what you would use it for.
No,
you're seeing it through your lens.
So wait, are you not trying to help these people so that your career can get better?
No,
and thus controlling
that wouldn't help that wouldn't help my career per se.
So why are you here?
This is an amazing idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
As soon as he was like,
he didn't reach me out to me. I reached out to him.
Yeah, and he was like, I want to work with somebody who I actually get along with. And I was just in a situation where the person I was working with didn't appreciate me and like what I could do. So like to hear somebody say that, I was like, oh, fuck it, let's do it.
That's cool.
Done.
We haven't got to the point where he's
100%
to feel unappreciated yet. I hope I can make him feel.
I mean, I felt pretty unappreciated. I show up, you're wearing fucking sweatpants.
The fact,
yeah, but from the waist up,
yeah, you get. Don't tell people about the.
No,
sweatpants.
I'm telling people.
Yeah.
But
I wore a nice shirt for this. This guy's in sweatpants.
Money only exacerbates who you are. Money and things only exacerbate who you are. Always. So be better. Okay.
Yeah,
can you do that, Ariel?
I try to do that every day. That's literally how I live my life.
So in a roundabout way, is terrorism okay?
If it furthers your career. I think that's what he was. No?
Yeah, cool. I like that.
When people call IRA terrorists, and all I've heard is good stories about them my whole life, it's offensive for me to hear that. So when people call Nelson Mandela a terrorist, I could see why that would be offensive to others. But then when you say Nelson Mandela went to jail for 27 years for just sticking up for black people, that can also be a little bit of a pulling the wool over people's eyes as well. Because I didn't really think anything. I've only heard good things about Nelson Mandela until I was doing a podcast at the old studio, the Wet Beak, and our producer, I guess, is a big Nelson Mandela hater. And I was like just saying like something good about him, and he's like, there'll be no what do you call it, like bigging up Nelson Mandela on this podcast. He's responsible for killing all these white children and all this stuff. And I was like, what? I've never heard any of that.
On some level, that's kind of true, you know.
How's that kind of true? Break that down for me.
So
do you like, because you guys were talking about like how he's like murdered people.
So when I was reading, a lot of the deaths were black people. Like it was when he was bombing places and stuff, right? But tell me anyway.
I don't know that, but it's not about him actively murdering these people. That's
setting
not
up
what
the plan.
He's saying.
Yeah, drawing up the plan.
He's saying that as a consequence of the man's decision, now these farmers are being murdered.
That's true.
Because he was one man. What were we expecting him to do? Fix all of it? He had 4 years in office. Like, that's not enough time. He was too old. True. And the subsequent leaders after have not been good enough and of the same moral standpoint. Mandela was an ethical man. The people who have come after him, you can say the same. So who are you blaming? He's blaming Mandela, but Mandela's not to blame.
And so when they were doing the terrorist stuff or the attacks, whatever you want to call it, before he went to jail, apparently he was getting a lot of inspiration from Fidel Castro and Che Guevara.
Well, those guys were very anti-apartheid, which makes sense,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
So, and they would fund a lot of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, because they just wanted to see governments fall.
Really?
Yeah.
So
we got to do Fidel Castro.
Was Nelson Mandela trying to become a communist? Was his?
Yeah. So they eventually aligned with the Communist Party, but he was for democracy in a way that everyone was equal. That was what he was fighting for. He just wanted equality.
He was voted in.
He was the first democratic president of South Africa.
Hold on. Was he communist or not?
No.
Or he had communist ideology?
They aligned with the Communist Party to build a bigger group.
Because that was one of the knocks on him when I was looking up what bad people say, what people have to say bad about Nelson Mandela, was that he aligned himself with Castro and Muammar Gaddafi.
If anyone says anything bad about Nelson Mandela, that's fine, but you're also an idiot. The man was in an extenuating time, and he just did what he thought was right to bring peace to a place.
Yeah.
So how can you judge that? You weren't there. I wasn't there.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's so funny because I listen to a lot of guys who are like back from like Iraq and Afghanistan and stuff, who have like been in the war, like Navy SEAL guys, and they always say like you weren't there. Like if you're not there, you don't understand how crazy it gets and like stuff. I'm not comparing the two, but like it's the same kind of thing.
It's he takes over, right? And he could have immediately turned an entire nation into bloodshed. That could have been his first act. Yeah, I'm now president. That's what Mugabe did. Literally north of the border. A guy took over. He got syphilis. You should do a Mugabe episode.
Really?
Yeah, he got syphilis. He was a really good leader. He gets syphilis, fucks his brain up, and then he's like, we're going to murder everybody.
What?
Yeah, you don't know that? Like, Mugabe was fucked, bro.
Do they have a national holiday?
Wait, you're saying Mugabe? Is that
Mugabe? Robert Mugabe, the president of Zimbabwe.
Oh,
Zimbabwe.
Okay. I thought you were talking about Gaddafi.
Gaddafi,
no,
Libya.
it was Rhodesia becomes Zimbabwe, and Robert Mugabe takes over. And then he turned it into a dictatorship. He was in office for like 40 years. And Mandela could have easily created an atmosphere where that was a thing. And he chose not to. Mm-hmm. That's what makes, in my mind, what makes Mandela great. Is he could have had white people butchered in the street. But he knew that was what they had just done. And his whole argument was, I just want it to be fair. I want it to be even.
Kill them on the farm and not the street?
Well, he didn't.
What's up with the killing the farmers?
Hold on. You
keep
you keep bringing up something. What is this? What is this killing in the farm?
They killed
Apparently, they're killing a lot of white farmers.
So here's the truth. white farms are massive.
Yeah.
They could easily give half a farm to a black family.
Of course, yeah.
Quite easily. But they won't do that.
Not over their dead body.
Not over there, right? And so, and what's the unemployment rate in South Africa right now? I think it's 29.7. That was pre-COVID.
How much research do you think I did here?
29.7. Well, you should.
a lot.
29.7% of a country unemployed pre-COVID, and then you're wondering why they lose their goddamn minds when wealth is just like thrown in their face, and it was the method at which they oppressed with.
But wait, what are we saying now? Are we saying this is why they?
This is why there's farm murder. Of course.
Well, how many are they murdering?
Yeah, but if you're getting about
thousands,
if you're killing about 200 white farmers a year, okay, so basically there was 128,000 commercial farmers in South Africa in 1980. Today there are about 40,000. So there's been
they left.
There's been that many.
Not deaths. That doesn't include immigration. That doesn't include. Like,
fair enough.
So they weren't all killed. They weren't all
this is one of my favorite games to play in Toronto because I meet a lot of South Africans, right? And if you go to Thornhill, there's a lot of South Africans, right?
Yeah, I never.
And I play this game. This is my favorite game to play. I will ask them when they moved here, right? And they'll be like, "Oh, I moved here in 1994," and I'm like, "Oh, so when black people got rights, you're a racist." Yeah. Like that's literally the game to play. It's
right. They came to Canada, but Canada they had rights before that. Then they're like, I guess South Africa's a riskier place. I think
the problem, and watches this. I hope you take my words how I intend them, and not. It might come out wrong because I've never said this thought really truly out loud, but. I think the problem with the way the black community has approached their new prominence to power is they're still angry.
Oh, yeah.
Which definitely makes sense. I understand the anger. But it's not serving anyone.
Yeah.
When they rob you, I've been mugged and it was fine. Like, it wasn't fine, but it wasn't like, I wasn't like hurt. Like the guy was just desperate. But I have friends who like guys have come into their house with guns. Have raped the maid, have stolen everything and threatened to kill, and then there's other stories where people just get murdered, right? And that is the problem. That is why the white people are not listening to the sharing of wealth, and it's because you can't. Violence isn't like Mandela fought for no violence. Yet that's what you're doing. He fought so that you could be free, not so that you can murder.
That makes me think like all this abolish the police stuff going on here in North America. What if like right after they abolish the police, they just start fucking raping and murdering white people? Like, is that the plan? Like, take a page out of South Africa's book?
So I think that abolish the police is not the plan. I think you're not listening. I think they're saying we don't want cops to show up when someone is mentally ill. We don't want cops to show up, right?
When someone
you're talking about that's a better plan, but I see
the social workers.
I see people out there saying abolish the police, and I'm not a fan of the police or anything, but at the same time, I've never needed the police.
How about we take the British model?
What's that?
Disarm the police.
Oh, they have no guns.
They have no guns, but their crime rate has plummeted since.
Well, then they just have like batons.
Yeah, I mean, there's still subsects that have guns. Like, they still have a SWAT.
Oh, really?
They still have like...
It's just they're plain close...
they're everyday... They're everyday police guy. The guy, like, you and I could go become a cop.
Yeah.
They don't give us a gun.
The guy that pulls you over in traffic wouldn't.
Because they know we're just a traffic officer. I shouldn't have a gun. Like, I'm here to, like, give you a ticket for driving like an idiot, not put a gun in your face because you're driving like an idiot.
What do they do when somebody, like, resists?
Well, they'll use
the baton
or the baton, stun guns.
Okay, so they have stun guns. So that's like the most lethal thing they have on them.
They could tickle you. They could tickle you to
maybe
death.
Rubber bullets.
I'm asking you like just because of your accent.
Yeah, that's fair. It's still a South African accent.
Yeah, I know exactly. No, that's so crazy.
I can get more South African whenever I want to, though.
Oh my god.
Because I have this weird Canadian washed. Because my mother's Canadian, right?
Jesus.
When I was growing up in school, kids would make fun of me. They'd be like, "You sound American."
Oh, you're crazy. You sound so South African. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to put on any accent.
No, when you put it on, that
I can get more South African guys. What you want?
I only know how to say.
You want diplomatic immunity or what?
Diplomatic immunity. That's where I'll start. Okay, I'm
That's
gonna
where it
figure out.
started.
Okay, that's where I'm gonna figure out this accent.
I have one.
Actually, I took I met a person who like teaches people how to do accents, and they say that you should start with the word water.
No, because I'll say it like a British person.
I say water. There you also you both sounded South African.
Brooks
Water.
Kepka.
Watermelon.
That's my one South African.
Mountains.
You're gonna teach a black guy how to say watermelons. That's gonna be my.
Water.
Yeah, I planned this. Now
Safe.
get me some watermelon. I am the guest. You didn't get my rider? I'm so black that I like watermelon.
Yeah, that's how
Also,
much you're.
watermelon's just delicious. Everyone should like watermelon.
It's funny. I actually made a joke. I'm like, what if Ariel's like all happy about the apartheid? What if he saw it like in this rosy thing where it was like all nice
Have
and
you ever
like
talked
happy?
to me? You've
Like
met me. What
maybe
made you?
because you're white. Maybe it wasn't that bad for you.
Oh, so I did want to talk about this, and it came up when Black Lives Matter. I kept quiet during Black Lives Matter.
During
Well,
it,
your silence was deafening. I just want to tell you.
I
that.
didn't make any posts. I how it felt pageantry because I have benefited from the oppression of black people.
yeah.
In my lifetime, that has been a thing. I had a maid. I had never done laundry till I was 24 years old.
Wow.
I had a gardener. He would do whatever I needed. He would drive me to school in his little, we called them buckies, but like a
Car or whatever.
yeah, well, yeah. Anyway, he was also the gardener at the school, so it made sense that he just took me.
Oh,
It's a problem.
But like, my mother paid these people. She
Yeah.
looked after these people, but it's still a system of oppression. So that's where I get confused, and it's gray because like my mother was very anti-apartheid.
Yeah.
She went to rallies. She, like voted ANC. She like, you know what I mean? Like she tried all the things she could that she knew how to do,
True.
but she still benefited from the system.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just gonna happen. You can't.
Yeah. So what, am I meant to feel guilty about that? Because that's how they make it sound. Like,
Well, yeah. I was gonna say no. You shouldn't feel guilty. I was gonna ask, why wouldn't you? If you felt the way to, like, why wouldn't you just do what your mom did instead of just being silent? You can just you can do whatever you want.
it's because when I watch some of, and there's specific people in my mind, but it feels phony because I'll never know. I'll never know the black plight.
So.
So by me saying, I benefit from black people's oppression. It's
Oh,
just
you don't
like,
have to say all that.
No.
You just that. Actually, I don't even know what you do. I guess you just show up.
Nobody
and just
knows
stand
what
around.
to do, man.
Yeah, it's like COVID. The rules change. The rules
It's
change all
been
the time.
yeah. Honestly, like when it first came out, like I remember people saying, "White people, we see your silence and it's deafening." And then other times I see white people talking. They're
It's
like,
like, shut
"White
the
people,
fuck up,
shut
white people."
It's
Yeah.
not your time to talk. You're silencing black voices by
Yeah,
making your own." And then I'm just like, I'll just stay. I'll just keep being nice to black people the same way I've always been.
Exactly. That's exactly my thinking. Like
Yeah.
I'll try and be the non-racist I believe that I am, and I'll just
Yeah.
keep trying and learn on my own how to be a better person.
Yeah, that's true. I guess instead of making posts about it, that is, I guess, a good way.
Even that black square that day, black square goes up, and then like a couple hours later, people are saying, "Oh,
Put that
black
back.
square was put up wrong or whatever. You shouldn't have
Yeah, 'cause
hashtag this." And then
you're
it was like,
muting.
and then it was like,
Breonna
"Oh,
Taylor.
actually, this whole thing's a sham." And then if you don't put one up, then people are judging you for that. So what I did was I looked at Killer Mike, probably my most trusted.
That's
black
like an
politician.
extreme.
And he
Yeah.
didn't put it up. So I was like, all right, cool. I put it
Yeah,
up,
No,
but then I was like, maybe I shouldn't have put it up. Killer Mike didn't even do it.
no, delete it.
I think
You
I
should
did
get
delete it.
Killer Mike to talk about Mandela. That would be interesting.
Oh, Jesus.
I wonder what he has.
Wait, do you like Killer Mike? I love him.
I like
would vote for him for
him. I like him in Run the Jewels.
You don't like his?
I've never watched him. Like, he was on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I never watched that episode.
You never seen any of the clips of him just breaking down what's going on in society? You never seen his show on Netflix?
No.
Yeah, that show's dope.
It's really good. It's really
What's
good.
it
Intense.
called?
What's it called again?
We'd have to look it up.
Yeah. I have no
You have a
idea.
computer.
I don't know. That's true.
He-
But basically,
He looks at us like, "Can you do the research? This is your podcast."
Yeah, so I should have a producer looking it up. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair, but you
No.
can't afford one yet.
All I have is my phone, bro. I can't look it up.
So I had an interesting juxtaposition question. that I always relate with Mandela.
Trigger warning.
Trigger warning. Yeah, it's really good.
What?
Check that out.
It's really good.
Oh, that's what the show's called?
That's the show.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
What he's
we are
about
not-
to say. No,
okay.
Trigger warning.
No, trigger warning.
I'm gonna say the N word a bunch.
No, but
just-
check that. Check
just
that
5
out, Colin.
minutes of the
You'll like
N-word.
it. You'll actually like it a lot.
Okay.
You're gonna have a new love for Killer Mike after watching that show.
Yeah, it's
Alright.
good. Is Obama a terrorist
Well,
in
What?
your eyes?
Obama?
Is Obama a terrorist?
No.
no.
So
Right.
he murdered people.
When?
He dropped bombs on Syria.
It was like the most drone attacks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some
His
like a-
plans has led to the death of millions of people
and every president before him.
and every president before him. So
Yeah.
are they terrorists?
Not in our eyes, but over there, I'm sure they have a completely different story about the United States, the president of the United States.
I would love to see them talk about like Bush, like back in the
Yeah.
day.
They probably view all those guys as terrorists. They
Oh,
probably
yeah.
the Navy,
yeah.
the SEALs, the Navy SEAls. How do they not see those guys as terrorists? They come in, they're well equipped. They come in, they literally take over big like.
And they have like serious equipment. Like
Yeah,
America's
they're
coming
not
in with like
fucking around.
tanks, drones, like you said, like, and you're just sitting there with like your little bazooka. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're just a little terrorist trying to make a way.
Yeah,
I'm just
this
a little
life-
terrorist trying to make it in the big terrorist game.
And you look at America.
I want to move
coming in with
up
all
the
this-
corporate terrorist ladder.
You're like, how am I gonna get over there and
I wanna be
fly into a
funded.
building
yeah.
when they
right?
can't even let me out of my goddamn house?
And then these guys show up with fucking AR-15s, assault rifles,
But that's a great
scopes.
That's a great point.
Yeah, that's
Like Nelson Mandela is not a terrorist because Nelson Mandela became a Nobel Peace Prize winner and a president. And once you become a president, you can't be a terrorist.
That is actually true. There's probably a thing that actually says just what you said.
Well,
Once you
just
become
like-
president, you can't be a terrorist.
just like I said at
You
the
can do
beginning.
You can do terroristic things.
Yeah.
Just like I said at the beginning, though, it's is he the terrorist or was he fighting against the terrorism?
Terrorist or freedom
first?
fighter, yeah.
Yeah.
It was he
Right.
fighting against.
He fought terrorism with terrorism.
Is it okay to fight terrorism with terrorism?
Well, America's been doing it for years.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? It's like as soon as you say it, it's like you can point at any nation and say they do terroristic things. So maybe the key is not to brand a.
I think the
as
truth is
terrorism.
maybe we should abolish nations. Maybe we should stop giving a fuck about borders.
You were saying that before.
Maybe we should just fucking
off
like
camera.
we're like we want identity because we're afraid to die. I don't want to die alone, so let's create meaning out of nothing.
I don't know about no borders. I don't know what that turns into. I don't understand.
It's like an RPG computer game,
but it's
a free
not.
world.
It's not. I
Just
don't.
like a beep, boop, 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 boop.
I don't. I don't understand economics enough to understand
Yeah, I also
what
don't.
happens.
I'm an idiot. You think
when you
any of
take
this-
away the borders? Like I'm sure something terrible happens. when
I
you take away
sound
the borders.
articulate, but I'm an idiot.
You sound like you're just being like modest because of your accent.
No, I truly am an idiot. I've never read one full book.
Neither have I.
Me neither.
'Cause I have
Fuck it. Let's do it.
Dyslexia club.
Yeah.
I actually do have dyslexia. Yeah.
Mine's undiagnosed, but I'm pretty sure.
I
Me
think
too.
so too.
Me too.
I've listened to many books.
I say shit all the time. I'll say something to my girlfriend. She's like, "You just said that backwards." And I'll be like, "Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes I read stuff backwards, everything.
yeah, all the time."
I had to go to like a couple like in school. They made me go to see like a therapist for whatever, like to try and see
For
like,
whatever.
put this block, put these
Yeah,
blocks
yeah.
together like
Me
that.
too.
and all that. I had to do that
Occupational
twice, yeah,
therapist?
some one of those ones.
And what happened after?
happened?
I went to the special class.
One
and
time
that
they
was
sent me
it.
to the special class for a little bit, but then I worked my way back. You know what I mean? And then the second time,
You're like, I won't be with the special kids.
that was in elementary school.
I want to
and
be normal.
then, and then
Yeah.
in high school, like it came up again. And they're like, "Oh, you went to this when you were in elementary school. There must be something wrong with you." I was like, "I didn't even remember that."
Yeah.
So then
Isn't that more offensive? Special class.
Fucking right it is.
I went home and I asked my mom, I'm like, did you try to send me to special class when I was in elementary school? Apparently in like grade 2 or grade 4, I had this teacher that hated me, and she told me I had to go to the special class for a bit. So I don't know.
I mean, I think you should be in the special class now.
This
I wish there was a special class for comedians.
podcasting is the special class
Yeah,
now.
it is.
This is where we are.
The
What's
special
up?
class, the short bus.
Yeah.
Um,
So what else about Nelson Mandela? Was that the extent
Well,
of the
let's-
things that
well,
he did?
pretty much terrorism before terrorism. I put it out in quotations.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced it was terrorism or whatever. It was freedom fighting. That's the bad stuff. But after, he seemed like he came out pretty clean on the other end.
Except for his work in HIV and AIDS.
Yeah, he
Well,
kind of
Him and Mbeki, the president after him, were pretty on the fence about the scientific.
They were just like, that's for gay people, just like everyone else thought.
Right? Like,
but they didn't realize how gay Africans were.
But then,
Yo,
that may be the funniest thing you've said.
that was fucking amazing.
But
yeah, but then his son died of AIDS, right? And
That's how it
so
goes.
then he's created the Mandela Foundation, which fights for not only education reform and things like that, but also, AIDS research and stuff like that.
Real?
Yeah.
okay, so that's pretty good.
He also
So even his misses, he hit on. You know what I mean?
What?
He started off violent. He came out of prison and said, we're not going to do that violent shit anymore. He started off being like, AIDS not a big deal, and then he came out saying like, no, we're actually going to fucking put a lot of money towards that. So you got to say like Nelson Mandela is pretty good overall.
Yeah, I think he is. I'm pro Mandela.
It's all the acts that he did. Like death is like always a bad thing.
If you had a relative
But
that
it's
died
hard.
one of the bombings that Nelson Mandela planned, obviously you're going to look at him and be like,
Yeah,
maybe he didn't deserve that Nobel Peace Prize. But grand scheme of things, man, it was pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. That's. But you know what? You can go. You do that with anybody.
Well, I've been working a joke right now because I went to kind of like we were in that men's group together. I went to another one, and the guy who I only went once because the guy leading it was like, "Yeah, you can find a positive in anything," and I was like, "Oh yeah, like what about World War II?" And the guy was like, "Greatest teamwork I've ever seen."
Wow. Wow.
To this day, one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Greatest teamwork.
Greatest teamwork I've ever seen. Right.
Oh man.
But
and I'm sure he's talking about the world coming together against the Nazis.
That's what he meant, but that's not how it
Yes,
came out.
exactly.
That's not how it came out at all.
Oh, poor guy.
Right? Right? Like, I was just like, what did you just say to me? I will remind you I'm Jewish.
Oh,
Not by choice.
damn. So then, what else? No
death.
other murdering.
One other
His death is pretty
quick
huge.
note on him. This was like earlier before he went to jail. He was known as a master of disguise. Did you know that?
Nelson
Apparently,
Mandela.
when all these when he was doing all the protests, sometimes bombings, like when he was trying to get away, and the cops would come to try and arrest him. Apparently, he was very good at being like, "I'm not Nelson Mandela." Like he would be,
Really?
he was a master of disguise.
He's a really good actor.
They called him. They dubbed him the Black Pimpernel.
He was in,
and it was a reference to an old novel, basically somebody that was a master of disguise, and he could escape being arrested by disguising himself. One time he described himself as a field worker, as a chef. I think maybe those cops were just racist and thought all black people looked alike.
For sure.
Maybe he wasn't a master of disguise. He was just a black guy in a 90% black community.
100%.
he was in a movie. He was in Malcolm X.
Yeah. He played a small
He had a
in Spike
small
Lee's
role
movie.
In Spike Lee's movie.
He actual Nelson Mandela. Was in it?
Actual Nelson
Oh
Mandela.
wow! Holy shit! I didn't know that. What movie?
Malcolm X.
Oh, like the
one with
wow. Denzel.
Denzel, yeah.
Holy shit! I didn't know that. I've never watched it.
Give us some quotes there.
Yeah, so like Ariel was saying earlier, Nelson Mandela, great speeches, great quotes. A guy that, you know what I mean, girls, put this on your Instagram. Picture of your ass.
Yeah, put a picture
Have
of
this one.
That's my
Education is the most powerful weapon, which you can use to change the world. Nice ass.
Tits.
Yeah. Girl, take your tits out and post this one. It always seems impossible until it's done.
Well, that one sounds like someone's about to come on your tits. Maybe don't use that
Well,
one.
that's why he said it.
I know.
Come on, it's history/comedy on.
Yeah, but
this
the
show.
girls don't do that. It's not like they just put random quotes that make no sense.
It probably seems like it's impossible until it's done when you're down there.
All right.
You know?
Fellas, spread your cheeks and lift your sacks to this one.
I thought that was a quote.
That would be amazing.
After climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb.
Damn.
Hashtag.
That's some Sisyphus shit.
That's like, yeah, fuck. That is life.
Here's a good one for a sexy girl. I could see her putting this in the caption of her, not in the caption, and just in her bio. You know what I mean? A good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination.
Fucking right.
Yeah, man.
My favorite on that list is the money one.
Where's that one?
Money.
Money won't create success. The freedom to make it will.
That's true.
So break that one down for me. Why do you like that one so much?
Say that again. Say that again.
Money won't create success. the freedom to make it, Will.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Tell me why that one.
Because whenever you see like and this is just my opinion, a lot of celebrities you'll see when they first start, they're like us. And then 15 years later, 10 years later, 5 years later even, they're very different. You know why? It's because they have all this fucking freedom to start exploring ideas and start thinking about things and start starting businesses and start
think about stand-up. Think about how much better
freedom to make it, Will. I took that as
freedom to make
money won't create. Yeah, the freedom to make money. Yeah.
Freedom money buys you is what creates success.
Yeah.
That's what he's not saying that money itself.
The freedom. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. You just start doing
money
shit.
Can't buy you happiness, but I'm happiest when I can buy what I want, get high what I want. Jellystone said that. That was another quote from a Canadian rapper. You know Jellystone?
I do not.
Money can't buy me happiness, but I'm happiest when I can buy what I want, get high what I want, anytime that I want.
As soon as you did the voice, I knew exactly. What it was.
I'm learning that you literally just talk in Canadian rapper. Like every time we've had a conversation, I think you just are repeating the ideology of a rapper.
But not quoting Cardinal.
But not just rappers. I throw in some country every now and then. I do a lot. I have a lot of music in my head. Speaking of which, this sounds like a good line in a song. Let freedom reign. The sun never set on so glorious a human achievement.
You know what's weird about this is hearing you say that.
The sun never set on a glorious human achievement.
For me,
doesn't it sound like a song?
That would be sick.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah, well, it's like Mandela was eloquent, and you reading it sounds like like a kid from Barrie just learned to read for the first time.
A kid from Barrie.
Yeah, right. It's like only free men negotiate.
No, come on, I do better than that. Only free men can negotiate. A prisoner cannot enter into contracts. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, that one's not even that great of a quote, to be honest. That's just.
I mean, you put it on the list.
A prisoner can't enter into contracts. Is that what it says at the end?
Yeah, prisoner can't enter into contracts, which is fair.
Here, I like this one. This is just a fucking tell your boys this one.
A free man can't negotiate. Yeah, that's true. Sorry. I was just thinking of that because that's what's happening with like Joe Budden right now. And I just thought of that with the podcast.
Only free men can negotiate.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
A prisoner cannot enter into contracts.
He clearly never watched the movie Law Abiding Citizen.
And that's why Joe Budden left Spotify, because he was too shackled up and he couldn't negotiate otherwise. True. That makes sense.
This is my favorite one. When the water starts boiling, it's foolish to turn off the heat. Like, yeah, why'd you even warm this water up? Would you warm it to just get warm? Boil that shit and then throw in the pasta or fucking whatever, you know what I mean?
Or put it in someone's face.
It's the wrong... Oh, shit, they boiled babies. God damn it, Nelson Mandela. Was that...
Subliminal messaging.
Oh, my God.
We just got that water hot enough to boil that baby.
No, it's
what, are we just going to give him a warm bath?
No, it's because once the water's...
turn off the heat?
Once the water's hot enough, they're dead either way. So why are you turning it off now? That's what that is. I'm not saying that quote's towards babies, but that's what that quote means. It's like once you heat shit up, you've already heated it up. So now if you turn it off, it's still gonna be heated up. So you might as well just fucking ride out whatever you're gonna do.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. I think it's more about
bro. And he's a freedom fighter. That's definitely what he's talking about. He's a gangster. I didn't realize he was a straight up gangster.
Oh, yeah,
I thought he was like Gandhi or like, you know, the Dalai Lama.
No,
that's what I always thought of him as.
Dalai Lama, come on, don't even bring him into this, man.
That's what I because they weren't they together a lot?
I mean, you know, when you roll in similar circles, you're gonna get some photos taken. Like, look how many of these celebrities have photos with Weinstein. It's just
what, Nelson Mandela and Dalai Lama rolled together a lot?
Well,
they would have been at the same peace conferences. They would have taken photos and done handshakes
and smoke joints together off camera.
But same way...
Fuck, I would have loved to smoke a joint with Mandela.
Really?
Who's your one I would smoke a joint with? Like, you get one...
Me?
Like, that's it.
Colin Michael Cummings, the first.
Your
I would
dad?
smoke... No. No, I smoked heavily with my dad. I fucking I never smoked with my grandfather.
Oh, your grandfather.
I knew my dad. You know that, right?
No,
like we smoked together. Like we hung out together. My grandfather, because I've never seen any of my grandfather's faces. Or
still boring choice, I think.
No, that'd be a solid choice.
Why? What did he do that was so great?
Because how do I say this? because the things that I'm willing to do came from somewhere, and I'd like to meet my grandfathers because they.
Fuck the white woman?
No, that was all my dad.
I'll mic up that.
No, wait, your dad? Are you half white?
No, my dad was just like really, really.
If you're half white, I'll kick you off this podcast right now.
No, my dad was into that.
You're the black card.
But like on my mom's side, my grandfather was like somebody, and on my dad's side, he was like somebody, and he was enough that my dad was like, I gotta name my son after this guy. So I'd like to know what that was, because there's like some roughness in me that the rest of my family doesn't have, and I think it comes from those guys. So I'd smoke a joint with him.
Interesting.
And understand, like I told you before.
I meant historical figure, and you made it.
Fuck historical figure. Fucking, and he is historical. He'd be 120 years old right now.
Historical figure for me?
No?
I have a short list. I don't know who to pick. Muhammad Ali, James Brown, Jesus Christ, Johnny Cash.
Jesus Christ. That would be fucking hilarious. Oh my God. 4'7" Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Jesus, where the hoes at? Mary Magdalene, get your ass
Jesus
in here.
probably wouldn't even speak English.
What's that pussy open?
You'd smoke a joint with a guy who can't speak English? You need subtitles.
I think Jesus couldn't transcend languages.
Either Jesus or like King Tut. And that's just for me because I'm black and I'd love to see how
Alexander
black
the Great.
they were.
Or Marcus Aurelius. Or Marcus Aurelius.
Or see how black those guys were because they were like part black. A lot of people don't know.
Maximus the Merciful from Gladiator.
Oh.
Russell Crowe's character.
How about just Russell Crowe then?
No.
He could just play the character.
Maybe Gerard Butler if he's going to kick me down a well or something.
You think they're going to remake Gladiator with Gerard Butler?
No, he was in 300. I appreciate that guy too.
Yeah.
He's like 5'4".
Those are good ones.
I don't know why you're hating on all these short kings.
And who was yours?
Definitely Marcus Aurelius. Only because I got into Stoicism over the last year and a bit, and he was like a huge proponent of that.
But don't these people have to smoke weed?
Yeah, he'd smoke weed with me.
I got mine now.
I'm convincing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, listen, you're not emperor anymore.
You're only gonna get a little high. I go with Kublai Khan.
Who?
Genghis Khan's grandson, the first emperor that brought all religions and races under one kingdom, and he's just like, go be what you want to be. Just recognize I'm your king. I'd be like, let's get high to that, but.
Nah, I'm doing my grandfather. Fuck this.
Yeah, well,
because you're not gonna learn anything from these guys. They're gonna look at you all weird, and they're not gonna speak your language, and that person's gonna murder you.
Khan did
He's going to murder you. He's going to murder you.
No.
You're going to say this. He's going to see it. He's going to see fire. He's going to think you're a witch, and he's going to murder you. That's what's happening to you.
Not what I've seen. I think he used to get high, man. He used to smoke like mad shisha at least.
Oh, true, yeah.
And I think he did speak multiple languages because he brought Marco Polo in as a slave for like years, and he just brought him in just because he's like, I like the way you talk about what you've seen. He's like, I like the way you describe stuff. He's like, describe more shit to me. Go look at that and tell me what it looks like.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
That guy must have been so good with adjectives.
Right?
It's like, man, I know the language.
Man, so what else?
Well, I think to close out,
yeah,
we should talk about his death.
Yeah, okay. Tell me about his death because I don't know what's the
before the death. What about statues? Are there any statues of him that people are protesting?
They're not protesting.
They're not protesting.
Okay,
but there's Nelson Mandela Square in Johannesburg.
Okay,
he's on all the money,
and nobody protests this at all. Nobody's like,
you need white people to get mad at stuff for.
But a lot of white people, you understand that like half the white people were like, apartheid's pretty fucked, and then the other half were like, no, it's not.
Oh, really? Makes sense.
And they just left South Africa, or they just stay in their farm until they get murdered. You get two choices.
Or you can try and make it a better place, employ people, work hard,
and still get
the same
murdered.
like you do here,
and still get murdered.
Well, you could get murdered in Canada. What's your fucking point?
Well, I
think the murders are a little bit more frequent in South Africa. No?
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you can get murdered. It doesn't matter that you can get murdered here too, so it's okay there.
My biggest people ask me what's the biggest difference between living here and what's living there. And the truth is,
I asked the South African.
The biggest truth is living with freedom. I never leave my house afraid that I could die today. That never happens.
Yeah, so that's a big difference.
That is a huge difference.
Yeah.
But you know how you change that? In the country. You're not going to do that from I'm not going to do it from here, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I didn't leave for any of those reasons. I left for personal.
So what? How do you do that? You got to do some terrorist shit over there,
No,
blow
you
up some
just
buildings, and tell them, "Hey, stop killing us."
That is what you have to do. You can't say no now after Nelson Mandela
You
already
show-
did it.
That's
You
the
show
that's the
generosity and kindness and warmth, and you help. It's the only way to fix
Your
it.
mom's still living over there?
No, my mom got married to a Republican American and lives in Colorado mountains, and they yell about guns and Trump.
They love him?
My stepfather is diehard Republican, and he said, and I quote, "That guy's a fucking mess."
Oh, really?
So,
Wow.
So he doesn't even like Trump.
but he did vote for him the first time because
Of course he
he said, and I quote, "Hillary's a fucking bitch." That was
Wow.
yeah. He knew her though. He like done work with her, and
Really?
he was like, "She's the worst."
Okay. So you know what? Your grandfather was the first. What? What did you say? He was the first. What? Where? Say
My
it.
grandfather.
Yeah, you said he was the first something.
He wasn't the first, but he was a computer programmer, and he went to use those skills.
Okay, so you have like your family's affluent. It sounds like you guys are racist. Just come out with
He
it.
said he was a poor white
I
man.
was a
Just-
poor white man.
Come out with it. Come
A
on.
poor white man with a black maid and a black gardener.
Yeah.
And the
Do my garden.
gardener
Becca.
double shifts as a driver as well.
Yeah.
Do my garden.
I would like. Well, the gardener. We once. This is a horrible story. I don't know why I'm sharing this, but my dog murdered the neighbor's cat,
Oh my god.
and then we found the cat in the yard,
And the gardener disposed of
and
it.
I couldn't do it, so I got him to do it.
Oh man.
I was like, "We pay you."
Well, yeah, that's fine because you're a kid at that time. Wait, were you a kid?
I was an adult.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like 7. I'm like, yeah.
No, I was an adult. I was like, I can't do it. The cat's dead.
Oh,
Madiba. That's his nickname.
Do you love those guys? Do you
Madiba.
love those people?
Who?
Like you were around them for so long, like
I definitely miss Jackie. Jackie
Yeah.
was
The maid,
and she was like my second mom.
yeah,
bro.
that's
Like,
what I
she-
imagine.
She would walk me to school. She'd make me lunch. We hung out all the time. She ended up leaving working for us when her son stole from us.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And my mom was, and she knew and didn't tell my mother. And my
Oh.
mother would have been fine with it if
Yeah.
she had just come, because
yeah.
she was part of it. Like they lived on our property. You know, my mom put her other 2 kids through school, and
Yeah.
What did he steal?
I had my sound system in my room.
Oh, your shit?
Damn. I thought you were gonna say like a biscuit.
Nah. But I mean,
Like a
it was
boom,
a sound
like
system.
a boombox.
My mom
or-
didn't press charges.
like a boombox or
That's
surround
nice.
sound.
No, like it was a surround sound system in my room.
Wow, that's a lot to pick up and carry. I
My,
thought it was
my,
just like a
my dad
boombox
was
put
into.
on the shoulder. And
It was my
fucking-
dad's too. That's why it was like people like that's why it upset me more than
Ah, true.
right. It
True.
didn't
Oh, it upset
me.
you. So you were the one that.
Well, I went to my
caused
mom and like I was like, my stuff's been stolen from my room.
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen? And she was like, well, it had to be one of the people because we lived. My mom
Obviously.
owned a business and we lived above it. No, she interrogated her entire stuff. She had 22 people lie detector tested
What?
because it happened. We lived above her. My mom bought this factory so that she could run her business, and then she built apartments above the factory. And so we lived in those. My mom got wealthy later in life.
Yeah,
I
it
was
doesn't
already
sound like you were the poor family anymore.
Yeah.
when I was
what?
18. I said I grew up poor. I didn't say I was always poor.
Oh.
I grew up poor. My mom is a very successful and smart woman. You know, like
Oh.
a
That's
rag
what it
to
is.
riches story. You know, but now she has no
Jesus.
money. Now she lives off a man
Well, that's
because
still,
of
that's the
racism.
way-
Actually,
that's still
Because of
That's
racism.
still-
Why?
yeah. My mom had this contract, and this Muslim guy took over, and he was like, "I don't do business with Jews."
wow.
He said that in an email.
Damn.
Well, that's just good business.
You're doing business with a Jew right now.
Yeah, me.
No, Jews are great. to do
Colin the
business with.
Jew Cummins.
Jews make the best bosses.
Do they?
I don't know. My boss is pretty great.
He's a Jew.
He's Jewish.
Yeah, I'm Jewish. Today's the high holiday.
Is it?
Like it's Yom Kippur. I'm
Yeah.
here with you fucks.
Well, that's fine.
I'm gonna
That's okay.
atone tomorrow. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
What's the celebration of Yom Kippur? What is it?
Atonement. You're asking for forgiveness.
When's
you're-
the last time you did that?
Never.
They used to have. Did you go to Catholic school, Colin?
No, I have no religion.
Because when I was in elementary school, we used to have to go to confession maybe twice a year, kind of thing.
How many times you get fingered?
Never. I wasn't cute enough. And I moved. I squirmed too much. But yeah, it's been a long time. But I remember in like grade 7, grade 8 when guys started masturbating and they were like, "Fuck, should we tell the priest that is that one of the sins that we should confess?" And I remember it was a big combo in my grade 8 class, like if we should be telling the priest that we jacked off. I did.
Jesus.
I don't know if anyone else did, but
I'm so glad I had no religion growing up. I asked my mom what religion I was when I was like 7 or 8, and she said, "Don't ask me stupid questions."
That's a good answer.
I never asked again.
You never prayed before?
No, I didn't start meditating until I was 20 years old, and that was just on my own. I was studying Buddhism. I had studied Judaism for like a while, for like 6 years. I was like reading the Torah and stuff, and then I just moved over to Buddhism.
It's not a good read, is it?
Judaism to Buddhism.
The Buddhism, yeah.
And then I just worshiped the booty.
Yeah, that was it. I found this Israeli girl. She had a big ass. No,
I like how we haven't talked about Mandela in 10 minutes.
it's
I think
right. He would appreciate it. He would appreciate it.
Take a break.
But yeah,
we've said the thing is, okay, so the first 3 we did, there's actually people making arguments to turn on the statues. There's not really anyone doing that for Nelson Mandela. It's just that there's some people that will say like, he wasn't that great.
I'll say I'd like him off the money.
Why?
Because when you go to a strip club and you're putting fucking a 10 in the lady's panties and you're like, this guy's looking at me and he fought for freedom, not for this. You know what I mean?
You say, why don't you apartheid those legs, baby?
How about we racially segregate your vagina?
Oh my God.
That's what you just said.
Split the legs apart. That's what
I got it.
Oh my God. That's amazing. True. So off the money. But yeah, that's like a joke. But yeah. So I guess nobody's protesting this guy.
We're not meant to do jokes?
No. Yeah.
This is like half comedy.
But I'm just thinking of like anything. I guess there's nobody protesting him. Nobody. I guess there are.
I mean,
but they're
in South Africa, there would be pockets of people who are not pro Mandela.
Yes.
There's a town called Oranjashoek.
Okay.
Which is a white community that has denounced themselves from South Africa. They've built like military walls around their community and stuff.
Wow.
And like fully armed, and they just live. Like,
really?
They refuse to recognize the new South Africa.
Really?
Yep.
And they're white?
Yep.
Of course.
And the government could just roll through there and murder everyone in that village, right? But they don't.
They don't, yeah. They don't want to do that. They can't murder that many white people.
Yeah.
They did it once before.
And yeah, true. Yeah, so why? Yeah, I guess you can't do that. That's crazy. When I asked I asked the South African guy the biggest difference, and he was like, the walls.
Oh yeah, man, that's fucking crazy to me. How like you guys like you can just walk up to someone's house.
Yeah.
I can just walk, and sometimes you can just walk into the first part of someone's house.
Yeah,
right. So like that front door that goes into several apartments is often just unlocked.
Yeah, so South Africa, there's walls around every house.
Huge walls, fences. Except when I grew up, we didn't have one. We didn't have any. My mom had this theory. She was like, if you put up walls, they know you have shit to steal.
Yeah, it's antagonistic.
And then how many times did you get robbed before you put up the wall?
None.
Oh, you actually didn't.
We never got robbed.
It's antagonistic. To be
like, I got robbed later in life. We came home to 2 16-year-old boys in our house stealing our shit, and I had a pit bull, an American Staffordshire.
Okay.
Actually, it looks like a pit bull, and these kids try to bail out the door, and they jump over the fences. What they do is they take rugs and they throw it over your spiked fence.
Okay.
Because then they can just get over it, right?
Yeah,
It's so easy to get over. And then they jump, and these kids can jump fucking high and shit. And
they're Zulus, bro.
Yeah, and so this kid jumps, and the dog just fucking took him, just grabbed him by the fucking, just pulled him down, and he had to have like 18 stitches and shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. There was blood everywhere.
Damn.
That's a wild little life you guys got over there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
my life's crazier here.
To be judged off the time and circumstances he was in, to know that to this day South Africa is still a very violent place. What he did for the country was get rid of that apartheid, which is
not long enough. He just didn't have enough time. If he had done 2 full terms, you'd be looking at a different South Africa.
So he just didn't.
He was too old.
He didn't run again.
He was too old.
Okay.
He literally was old. He was like had health issues. He had.
Damn.
He was
born in 1918.
True.
He was born isn't that World War One?
He was born in 1918, and then he became president in 1991.
1994.
94. So yeah, holy shit. How old is
Whoa.
I guess an old
that? That's
man.
86. Is that 86?
Jesus.
Or no?
That's an
76?
old man, bro.
Fuck.
That's like Biden. Biden's like 70s, isn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't Trump in his 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Trump's like an 103 7-year-old.
Yeah.
He's
And,
gross.
and Joe Biden's had his head taken off twice. Yeah. So you can't.
Whatever that
you
means.
can't. He's literally had the whole thing of his skull popped off so they could do stuff to his brain and
What? We're
it
getting
back
so
on.
sidetracked today. I think
I'm just saying that's what happened.
of all the people we've talked about so far, I think Nelson Mandela was actually probably the best guy.
As a person?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard the other ones, but
Well, we talked Gandhi, John A. MacDonald, and Christopher Columbus, and the other guys were so
the
far.
first two, Columbus and John A. MacDonald, of course. Yeah, okay. But like Gandhi,
We actually had the most dirt on him for
he
an
was-
episode.
he was an interesting guy.
And the thing about-
he was arguably just as bad.
And out of everyone we
These
talked
other
about,
guys.
Gandhi is the one that's remembered as a real humanitarian, a real.
You
like,
should do Mother Teresa.
We are.
Yeah,
we
we're
are.
going
She's
to,
on the
yeah.
list. She's on the list.
But Nelson Mandela, like what I can say is,
Do you guys know about the Mandela Effect?
yes, of course.
What is
But,
it? Wait, say it.
It's like Berenstein bears.
People think Mandela died in prison and was replaced with a doppelganger.
Well, people say that
Whoa.
they remember him dying in prison, and other people are like, no, he didn't die in prison.
Well, he is a master of disguise.
And he was the first person. Like
Maybe he never even
It's-
went to prison.
it's called the Mandela Effect now because that was like the first one where people are like, blah blah blah.
Okay, that's a whole other thing. Because then, what if the real Nelson Mandela was just doing all the violent terror stuff, and then the Mandela that came out of prison was the fucking
That is the argument.
well thought out, well spoken, all these banger quotes. You know what I mean? Do unto others as you have do unto yourselves.
You
What
can
up,
disprove
Jesus?
it. Just go watch a video of him talk pre-prison,
Yeah.
and then go watch him talk post-prison.
Sounds the same guy.
Same guy.
Okay.
Oh, he sounds like the same guy.
Same guy.
Really?
Unless the new Mandela was an exceptional actor,
Not
like should have been in Hollywood. Like
not
And
Biden.
then he was
What?
in Malcolm
No,
X
no.
by Spike Lee. So
God, that's
maybe
so
he
weird.
was.
that's a great come around.
Spike
That's so
Lee
weird.
was just training this guy in acting for years. Well, that's a whole All right, that's a great place to end the episode.
Well, no, I was gonna say
Was Nelson Mandela even Nelson Mandela?
No, that's a horrible place to end. I was gonna say no matter who you are, there's always bad.
Yeah.
Like no matter how like we remembered Gandhi as like this crazy humanitarian, and then we found a plethora of horrible shit.
Well,
that he
isn't
did.
it because human
Horrible shit.
existence is gray?
I don't know if it's because of that. All I know is that no matter who we seem to be looking into, you can find good. Like Christopher Columbus, you can find good. John A. MacDonald, you can find good, but you can also find bad. And I think that's what we're gonna see with all these people. And I think it's based on who is remembering them, like we were just talking about the whole
And,
context of things.
Like the important thing. Well, the people that we talk about, like Nelson Mandela, say even if he is known for doing those terrible things before, bombings, necklaces, cutting off noses, whatever, all this horrible shit, he's still a guy that ended the apartheid. He's still a guy that inspired a nation to try and do a little bit better. Obviously, they're still fucked up in South Africa. It's still not a great place to live, but he does deserve to be on the money. He shifted the nation in a huge way.
Yeah,
in a huge way.
It seems like he made it better, and hopefully someone comes along and makes it that different South Africa that you're talking about, that if he had more time he would have made, you know.
It's not gonna happen.
Well, we never know.
Not in my lifetime.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like right now,
They
that
need a
kid
grief,
could be
yeah.
8 years old and on the way to it.
So when
and
I
who
was
knows?
in high school, there was a what was his name? But he was tipped to be the opposition. So the Democratic Alliance, which was for a long time a white party,
Of course,
started
yeah.
to become more black, and so they appointed this young, really forward-thinking black guy as their like prominent leader, and every white South African that I know and every black South African that I know, we wanted him.
Really?
And then
what happened?
He's just wrong party. You can't
Oh.
win with the DA. They're too small.
Oh shit.
So
The
weird.
ANC is going to win just on population, right?
So
Every
weird.
time.
Oh.
Because black people are told they're selling out black people if they're not voting for the African National Congress.
Oh, so it's like the Democratic Party in America. You have to vote Democrat. Oh, if you're
Well,
black.
maybe we'll get another good person that can act like Nelson Mandela, like that second Nelson Mandela. You know what I mean? And then they can run and change some things.
True. Yo, how long are we at there?
I think
What's
we're
it
good.
say?
1
We're
hour,
definitely-
37 minutes.
Whoa.
We're way over.
I didn't want to talk to you for that long.
Yeah, who does?
Fuck.
I don't want to talk to myself for that long.
We got sidetracked so many times today. It's
okay, it's okay.
But yeah, man. Overall, Nelson Mandela, terrorism, it's all good.
What a terrible sum
Right,
up.
tie it up in a neat bow. good quotes, good terrorism. Nelson Mandela.
And to you, what do you got going on? Plugs. things.
So Bubby's Boys, it's my new thing with Brandon Sobel and Robert Cackham. We've been doing it for a couple weeks now, but it's
Is it
been
every
taking
week?
off.
Get
No,
right
we
in
do.
there.
We do a monthly it was a summer show at the Cannabis Court, 420 Cannabis Court in Spadina Avenue.
True.
That's now done because end of summer. We're moving into a weekly at Vapor Central every Friday night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That starts this week.
Sick.
October 2nd is the first one. Every Friday, 6 acts, and then us. So one of us hosting every week.
And Vapor
called the
Central, you can
Vapor-
smoke inside, right?
Yeah, it's called the Vapor Sabbath. So come on out.
Wow.
We're
Vapor
doing-
Sabbath.
We're doing the Vapor Sabbath. And then, I've
You have a podcast?
I don't have a podcast. I have an album on Spotify if you guys want to check it out.
Do you?
Ariel Kagan Character Building. I'm doing stand-up all over. You can find me on Instagram at Ariel Kagan Comedy.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful, man. That's amazing.
Thanks for
amazing.
joining us and giving
Thanks,
us that
guys.
real South African perspective and some
Yeah.
stories from the homeland, some
I-
real like interactions
I
of what
honestly-
it's like.
It's so crazy. I've lived here 8 years, and I still feel South African to my core, yet I don't believe in patriotism at all.
Yeah, you can see it
It's
come
weird.
out when you
It's
start
still-
talking
I'm still, like,
about
passionate
it. You
about
can-
the
yeah.
place, right?
And that's amazing because
a
I
beautiful
wasn't
place.
expecting that at all from a guest to actually know shit. That's not what we were expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. You would recommend
Beautiful
going?
place. Love it. Would
Would you recommend
honestly,
going?
honestly,
Take a trip to
if
South Africa?
if I could change a few things about how life is there, I would move back in a heartbeat.
True.
If somebody had to just go on a safe vacation to South
Take
Africa,
me with.
where would you go?
You need an if
Take
you
me
know a
with.
local, you can do it. Like I took my
You
ex
you got robbed
No,
a
but
bunch of times and
I took my ex girlfriend.
fucking
We went
running
for
out
3
of
weeks.
situations a bunch of times.
Yeah,
Sounds
but
like I gotta get my cardio
because
up
I was
if I go on a
living
trip
there.
with you.
It's because I was fucking living there.
True.
Yeah, it's different.
You took your
It's
different when
you
you
took your ex girlfriend. You had a
Yeah,
nice
and that's
time.
why she left me.
Took my ex girlfriend.
I took her to Africa.
She was raped and murdered.
She was raped and murdered
got
there,
home
but she
safe.
left me.
And that's the point. The local knows how to put you in danger while I get the fuck out.
Yeah.
She was
P.S. This flag is Canadian. I know that.
Damn right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can we
right.
go now? I'm
Yes.
tired.
Let's
Thank
do it.
you, Ariel Kagan. I'm James Jam Easy Cummins.
Colin Cummings.
This is Pros and Conquerors, the bad boys of history. Stay tuned for another.
Episode? Sure.
Another episode. All right, guys. Have a good day or good night. I'm so tired.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like going to history class.
Perfect. Peace.
my house.
Yeah.
You guys
You live on your own?
No, I live with Chad Gibson. Do you know Chad?
Yeah. Tall and skinny.
Yep.
Has a soccer podcast.
Yep.
Dan Brennan.
Yep.
What's it called? 6 Points Clear or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what it's called. Yeah, 6 Points Clear. It's a football podcast.
Do I have
You
to
gotta
wear
follow
both?
me.
Like, should I wear both?
You should wear both.
Yeah, because then I
Yeah.
can.
You can hear
This
me,
is weird because I'm looking at you, but like the sound is so.
Sound-
but I'm right there.
I'm in your head.
It sounds.
What's that?
It sounds like you guys are now the voices in my head. Did you say? Are you whispering? Don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
No, you're doing it wrong. If you're gonna be in someone's head, you're gonna
Hey.
be like, kill yourself.
Hey,
No,
what's
no.
going on?
I'm-
You did a good job today.
Yeah.
How about you? Look at you doing all these good
Yeah, look at
things.
you.
Yeah,
You're
he
sitting
does.
down
Staying
doing a
busy.
podcast
Sitting
with a
down.
colored fellow and
What
an
you
Irish
is?
man.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't
Cello
count.
comedy show yesterday.
I saw there was a black guy
podcasting.
on, and I was like, "This is good for my public image." I gotta get there ASAP.
You did just have a show.
I did.
Yeah.
There was meant to be 2 black people on it,
Oh,
but
yeah?
classic black acts didn't show.
Who's the one that didn't show?
I'm not gonna say his name because
Yeah,
This isn't going to go on the This isn't on the podcast.
we're recording right now. Aren't we?
No, but this
we
is
are
a po-
recording, but we
Yeah,
can start.
Yeah, we haven't started
We can
yet.
start now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I stand by it. Like, like I'm not saying anything that isn't unfounded.
Yeah.
Like, I've been booking shows for like 8 years,
True.
and most of the time it's the women and the black guys that bail. That's just a fact.
I also do find that. Well, black guys. have
It's
been-
because they have, in my mind, they like I'm gonna book them again.
You
Right?
know,
Like,
you know why?
I'm going
women.
to book them
I
again.
definitely. I've
I
experienced. that
need
with
them
women.
for a more diverse show more than I need the 82 white guys who show up even when you haven't booked them.
You know what it is? It's your voice.
Oh yeah,
It sounds like you're telling them what to do too much, so they're like, I'm gonna stick it to the man.
Yeah, is that what I'm doing?
Fuck
When I'm
this
like,
guy.
hey, please come do my show. I think you're really funny. And then they're like, this guy's telling me what to do. Fuck him. I don't want to do his show.
How old are you?
32.
You're 88.
88.
Nice. Me
Are
too.
you 88?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the dragon.
We're weathered men. What year are you? You're young, right?
No, he's older than us.
Fucking 86.
Yeah, black don't crack though. Like,
I know.
look at you. You look 24.
What can I do? What can I do?
Use it. Enjoy it. Tell people you're 24.
I can't.
Kickstart your
You
life.
can't do that. Yeah, start it over again.
Well, you're like, I'm starting my career. Like,
Well, yeah, fuck.
yeah, you're like,
I only started in this game like 3 years ago.
yeah.
Which
Yeah.
game?
The podcast game, actually. Yeah.
Well,
It's comedy lesson.
was you and Jordan? Was that your first foray?
No, that was my first time producing one. At that point, I already had a podcast that I was producing and hosting.
Are you still doing Colin's Process?
Yeah, that was the first one.
That's the first one.
I love it.
Yeah, you love it.
It's my baby.
I like how I've never been invited on. Whatever.
You
I've
want
never
to
been invited on either.
actually?
That's rude. We should just
both
do it
of
right
you.
now.
I need both of you actually.
Let's just do it right
At
now.
the same time. Yeah. Turn this into a college
This
process.
turns into Colin's Process. We're here to talk about Nelson
You need both of us
Mandela.
on at the same
How does
time?
Colin process that?
No.
Separately.
Just
no.
him because he's so deep, and then you because you're very
So shallow.
interesting. No, you're
Wouldn't
super.
imagine.
Super
He's so
into-
deep
yeah.
and you're so shallow.
Nah,
I'll
man.
put the episodes back to back. We're going to talk
You're-
about.
I think
we're gonna talk-
Jamie's deep. He's just afraid
I'm
to.
deep. I think I'm
to-
deep.
to
but
show
I,
it.
I get
All
it. Oh, I
Irish
show it.
people, all
I
Irish
cry.
people have deep.
Yeah, of course you
deep-
cry. Everyone cries.
There you go.
Irish people have deep.
I'm just
souls.
like everyone else.
Super deep.
Oh
Souls.
yeah. And when
Super
Irish
deep.
are smiling, the
What
whole
do you
world
cry
smiles.
about? Please, can we put this in the podcast? What do you cry about?
No. When's the last time I cried?
If you don't say yesterday, I'm gonna like. You should be crying every day. Like,
No,
just
no.
get that emotion out of your body.
I'm with you on that sometimes.
Yeah, I just
Really?
got like sometimes I cry not
I-
because I even am sad. I'm just like I gotta get emotions out.
I watched Mike Tyson and Jim Gray, and Jim Gray started talking about his father, and I cried for like 20 minutes after.
Yo,
He was just talking about his father and how great he was, and his philosophies and stuff, and
can we just
that was it.
pull back? How awesome would a web series be of just Mike Tyson crying at things?
You can't pull us into this crying part and then make it funny all of a sudden.
Yeah,
you
you
can't
can.
switch it on
That's
me like
so
that.
funny.
What if we did a podcast just about men crying, and you just have a guy come on and he just talks about what he cries about?
Bro, that exists already for sure.
That's
And I'm not
actually
talking.
good.
I'm not talking like softy. You know, like these left men who are like.
Yeah.
They're
You
like,
think that
I'm
exists,
soft for pussy. You know these
no.
guys. Like no, I'm not talking like. Be genuine with your softness.
you're
You know what I
beating
mean?
the-
Not true.
You're beating
Right?
this-
Like some
True.
guys are like, I'm soft because I think it disarms women.
No,
It's
no,
like
no.
fuck you.
No,
Those guys
like
are
you
the
get the guys that
worst.
don't really want to talk about it and actually like make them cry on your podcast, and you just like really like you beat the stigma. What are you gonna cry? You gonna cry? Go ahead. Cry.
Boys do cry.
Boys do cry, and then you just goad them into crying. When you say, you fucking pussy.
Oh my gosh, that's how you spin it.
That's intense. At the end, you're a pussy.
It switches. That should be an episode of the Wet Beak. You guys switch it up. Rahil just walks in and says, "Is this guy really crying right now?"
Oh, that's so funny.
And then
You
you're
should
just like,
definitely do that.
you're like, I have no idea why he's crying, and the guy's like, "What?"
I'll
He's
do
like, "You're
that.
a
I'll
pussy."
cry on your
You'll
podcast.
cry on the podcast.
It'll be real too.
Yeah, it will be. It
Why,
will
did you cry yesterday? No, you
Yeah.
probably cried today.
Yeah, I definitely had a little cry today. Just a little one though, like a 1 minute one.
Did I? No.
Why you cry often, eh?
Yeah. I'll hear stuff about like dads or fathers or kids.
Because you didn't have one or something.
Yeah, I didn't have them around. And I really want to be like a really good dad. And also,
You want to be a dad?
Do you know your dad's
Do you
name?
want to be a dad?
Of course.
Why is that? Of
This
course.
guy's- do I,
Yeah,
yeah, I
savage.
know my.
You are
dad's
black.
name.
Whoa!
I'm-
hey now.
His name, oddly enough, I remember I told this guy that I worked with one time. He laughed for like 20 minminutes. His name's George Michael.
Your dad's name is George Michael.
Yeah.
Is your dad actually George Michael? That would be pretty funny.
Right. No.
Because he's gay and black.
Right. How weird would that be? And then
Explains a lot about Colin.
And I'm Colin Michael, and I'm named after my grandfather. So I know that much. But yeah, I cry a lot. But I've always been like that since I was a kid. Like every day.
This can. I'm just turning this off.